Music is an essential component of Mexico's cultural history. In modern times, this influence is best appreciated through lyrics of resistance, narco-corridos. My name is Jonathan Roberts, and I will be presenting Letra de Resistencia, examining the political functions of mainstream and underground narco-corridos. First, we have to ask ourselves, ¿qué es? What is un narco-corrido? Narco-corridos are popular contemporary offshoots of traditional Mexican folk ballads, or corridos. While narco-corridos preserve the rhythm and musicality of a corrido, the lyrics depict the opulence, violence, and machismo associated with the narcotics trade. This intersection of ribaldry and violence is what characterizes narco-corridos, like the one shown below. They illustrate both the prominence of famous cartels and comment on the lived social conditions of communities. While the genre has a long tradition in Mexico with roots as far back as the 1930s, after Mexican President Felipe Calderón declared La Guerra contra el Narcotráfico under much scrutiny. Many argue that the song should be banned for promoting a culture of violence and drugs in Mexico. Others maintain that narco-corridos serve a political function, chronicling current events and public discontent. It is with this contemporary debate in mind that I approach my research project. I'll begin with the purpose of the project itself. The essential guiding question I asked myself was, how have narco-corridos evolved during the Mexican drug war? Are they, like critics argue, social tools of cartels? Do they condemn, glorify, or narrate the violence of the movement? How do they interact with the political system? Given these questions and the pervasiveness of narco culture, I formed an analytical question. Does mainstream popularity constrain or enable political opportunities for narco-corridos? And that's where my project begins. I will analyze the lyrical content of narco-corridos from various musical artists, both mainstream and local, in order to better understand the function that this music plays in society. After I formed my analytical question, I had to create a method for researching the narco-corrido, which leads me to my next section. The project consists of analyzing narco-corrido selections from the albums of 10 artists. These artists came from diverse backgrounds and were chosen based on their relative online popularity. Some groups, like Los Tucanes de Tijuana, had over 350,000 hits. Others, like La Quinta Banda, had less than 5 hits. By creating this distinction, I can clearly delineate local and mainstream artists for the purposes of this research project. When conducting my research, I utilized a codebook, which was created after preliminary analysis of the lyrics. The codebook indexes several tags within narco-corrido music, including border crossings, family, violence, and Latinidad. These codes were organized into 5 unique frames in order to create a narrative for understanding the coding results. Chalino Sanchez, arguably the most prolific narco-corrido artist of all time, became the symbol of a modern cultural dialogue. With my results, I hope to pay respect to his artistry and acknowledge the various, oftentimes violent social complexities of the narco-corrido. The results themselves are still pending. I had to go through over 120 songs using the codebook. After I finished the content analysis, I had to organize the albums by their code content and frames. While that process is still ongoing, I expect to see certain trends. First, the frequency of codes between albums is likely to vary. Additionally, the way in which identity is indexed will be crucial to understanding the narratives presented within and throughout each song. These both lead to the central topic of the course, the politics of language. Durante argues that speech, and in this case music, is necessarily a social action that is grounded in the politics of a society. I'm confident that this analysis will shed light on the political functions of both mainstream and local narcocorridos. As I approach the end of the research phase, I am faced with many paths to travel. By discussing these paths, I hope to better understand my own findings and contribute to the literature. While there are many avenues for me to take, I would like to focus on 3 key areas for further exploration. First, the focus. Should I modify the scope of the project in order to glean more culturally nuanced information? Second, the content analysis. Are there codes that would have been helpful? Are my frames legitimate categorizations for the social phenomena indexed in narcocorridos? Third, linking my data to the theory. How do we appreciate border music in context of theories of culture and language? How does race and social inequality constrain and validate the lyrical composition of narcocorridos? The answers to these questions are essential to furthering the project. Corridos lie at an interpretive crossroads. On one hand, they bring attention to the violence and wealth of the narcotics trade. The lyrics themselves aren't fictional accounts. They are living and breathing stories that encompass drug cartels and the forces which try to stop them. On the other hand, they are inextricably tied to the sociality of Mexican culture and the experiences of the people who participate in that culture. The narcocorrido is certainly a controversial aspect of music and society, but it is also fundamental to understanding how people feel. And at least from an anthropological perspective, that's something to dance about.